Today, I'm speaking with a client who's a high school basketball player where she's telling me she's having a tough time being motivated to work out. So, in talking to her, the question I ask is what's changed in your life? What's going on? What's what's pulling that fire that was once there? And she answered, and her response to me was she doesn't know. So when she said she doesn't know, I said, well, I know you're smarter than that. I know you're brighter than that. Give me a little more. What's going on? Your classes, have they changed? Um, do you get along with your teammates? Is the coach giving you a hard time? What is it? And as she sat and she thought about those answers, she came back with, no, class schedule's kind of still the same. Coach and I have a good relationship, and me and my teammates, we have an incredible relationship. I said, okay. Then I asked the next question. Are you getting any pressure from your parents? And she kind of paused, and I said, okay, all right. So then I asked her, I said, I want you to think back to when, you were a little girl and you decided that you wanted to play basketball. What back then motivated you to want to start playing basketball? She said, well, my older brother played basketball and I looked up to him. I wanted to do everything he did. Said, okay, that makes sense. And so tell me about it. Tell me about your journey. Her comment was, I used to be at all of his basketball games and just watching him, and I had my little ball, and at halftime, I would always go on the court. I would always go on the court, and I would go shoot. I would just go shoot. And I wasn't strong enough yet to reach the rim, but I would keep on throwing it up there, throwing it up there, throwing it up there, throwing it up there, throwing it up there. And then eventually I started to be able to make it. And, when I would make it, everyone would clap, and that kind of felt good. And then I would continue watching my brother go into his games, and I got old enough, and I was able to play on my own. So I started off playing, and I would be practicing every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. So, okay. And what happened during that? I started to get better. I started to improve. And the great part about it was my brother, he would come watch my games, and he was my hero, and he would tell me little different things, and I enjoy listening to him. I just enjoy having him there, being a part of it. And it brings me to middle school. So in middle school, I start to play even more, and I start to improve. I start to get recognition. People start to, notice me for the player, becoming one of the better players. And I was still practicing, 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 practicing. And I started to see that, some of my hard work is start to pay off. And my brother went on to play in college, and that was another thing that motivated me to want to play in college, because I was like, wow, my big brother went to do it, I want to do that also. So I continued to work, and then I started to get pressure from, mom and dad. They would kind of be on me a little about it, not more so much as mom, but dad. And then dad started to coach me. And when my dad started coaching me, it kind of got tough, And I know he was doing it because I was his daughter, but he was a little harder on me than he was on the other girls. And I noticed it. And it's different when you have to go home with him, and as opposed to another coach just coaching me and me just being bothered with my coach and then being away from my coach. But when it was my dad, it was a little different, because he would be on me during the game and then still be mad at me, when we got in the car or we got home. So I didn't like that. So it kind of had me back away from it a little bit, basketball. And as I got closer to high school, I still, wanted to improve. I wanted to get better. And I wanted to figure out, do I still want to do this? And I spoke to my brother and kind of told him what was going on, and he kind of understood that what I was going through. And I ended up, my dad had a friend who I ended up starting to play for his team. And the great thing about this guy was him and my dad had a good enough relationship where he told my dad, let me coach her. You back away and just be dad because I don't want to ruin your relationship with your daughter. And my dad respected that and he did it. And since then, things have gotten so much better where my dad is just dad and now my coach is coach. And it's worked out. So now here it is, I'm getting better and I'm improving, but then there's days I don't really, really want to work out. I still want to enjoy other things. And my coach asked me, he said, well, what do you want out of this? What do you want to do with this? And I told him that I want to play at the best school in the nation, and I want to play college basketball, and I want to become a WNBA player. And right then and there, he said, is that what you want, or does someone else want that for you? And I said, no, this is what I want. So he told me, if this is what you really want, then you have to work at it. There's going to be days you're not going to always be motivated. You're going to have to learn to be disciplined. And that's one of the hardest things, is to be in discipline, because it takes true discipline to reach our goal. So right now, as it stands, is I'm trying to kind of figure out, what I need to do to kind of get back on track. So I took all that in, and my response to the young lady was, think back to when you were that little girl when you first started playing. What made you want to play basketball? And she said, well, my brother was doing it. I said, okay. But I want you to also think, what else made you want to play? You just enjoyed it. You loved it. It was innocent then. There was no motives behind it. You just wanted to play. Think back to that and play for her. Don't play for anyone else, but play for her. If you want to become that player you want to become, it's going to take you to be disciplined, like your coach said, and push yourself on those days where you don't want to. And when those days are even rougher, just think back to that little girl. There's different reasons why people are motivated when it comes to certain things, especially such as sports. It's a financial situation where this is the only way that they're going to be able to go to college. Like myself, if I didn't play basketball, going to college was going to be tough. There's other reasons why people play who can have all the money in the world, is because they just love it. And when you love it and you're passionate about it, that's your motivation. That's what it takes. That's what it pushes you to continue going when you don't want to. So you have to figure out which one is motivating you, which one is going to push you, which one is going to allow you to reach your destination. But during that time, you have to enjoy the journey and the process. Because it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be handed to you. You're going to have to work for it. And the harder you work, the easier it becomes. Because the stronger you become, the harder you work. As I sat with her, she kind of had this look on her face where I was like, I want you to do something for me. I want you to keep a journal. I want you to log every day. I want you to log every day what you do during that day, every day how you felt. Because what can happen is you can't have a good game and now you're motivated, because there's going to be days you don't have it. It has to be those days where you struggle and you want to get out there and work even harder to not struggle like you did. And she kind of scratched her head and was like, you know what, that makes sense. And I said, I want you to start, today. I want you to write down what we talked about, how you felt, and I want you to keep a journal of it. And each day, just write in it. This is going to be your journal. Because one day this journal might become your book. And she kind of smiled, because it kind of lit a fire under her, gave her a little more motivation. So when we we finished our session. I told her, I want you to keep this journal and I want you to bring it to me next time we meet. And I don't want it to be blank. I want you to really write into it and be truthful and share your thoughts so we can figure out how we can get you back motivated and encouraged. And the last thing I left her with was, I want you to create a vision that makes you want to jump out of bed in the morning. Thank you.